Hi, I'm Chris Perry,
And I'm Alexander Mejia.
and together we are doing a report on the Monroe Doctrine. So, on December 2nd, 1823, President James Monroe gave his annual address to Congress that became known as the Monroe Doctrine. The Monroe Doctrine answered many questions America had at that time, such as, what is our role in the world? How involved should we be with Europe? What is our stance on European presence in the Americas? And should we recognize the new countries in Latin America fighting for their independence against Europe? So the things leading up to the Monroe Doctrine: in 1811, Latin American countries adopted the Spanish-American Declarations of Independence, which borrowed ideas and language directly from the U.S. Declaration itself. In 1812 to 1822, the Latin American colonies rose to rebellion and established a series of independent nations. These independent nations were Mexico, Venezuela, Ecuador, and Peru. These uprisings inspired U.S. sympathy. Latin American constitutions seemed to be more democratic than that of the United States. They viewed themselves as a single national people out of 17 nations. They extended the right to vote to Indians and blacks fought in their armies, and that led to the eventual abolition of slavery. Latin American wars of independence lasted longer and were more destructive than any U.S. war. In 1822, the Monroe administration was the first administration to extend diplomatic recognition to the Latin American governments. There were two situations that pressured the United States for a response. France and other nations sent in armies to subdue the revolution in Spain and reestablish the monarchy. The question arose of whether would they subdue Latin American revolutions as well. Russia was anti-democratic and was trying to expand their current presence in the Northwest Territory to farther south into California.
The Monroe Doctrine addressed all of these issues and questions into 4 parts. First, there was to be no more colonization of the New World by any European countries. Second, the American countries were implicitly different than the European countries. Third, the United States would see any imposition of European government on an American country as a threat. And fourth, the U.S. would not be involved with any European affairs. There were several effects of the Monroe Doctrine. It did not have an immediate impact on the world stage. The Europeans felt flustered and annoyed at it. Its real impact was on the Latin American countries and the United States, as they felt a growing sense of nationalism. President James K. Polk brought it up in 1845 when there was trouble brewing over the Oregon Territory, and for Europe to stay out of the fight with Mexico during the Mexican-American War. President Grover Cleveland brought it up again in 1895 when Great Britain was getting involved with Venezuela. President Theodore Roosevelt said about the doctrine that sometimes it gives the United States the right to be an international police power. The Monroe Doctrine would continue to be brought up by U.S. presidents until World War I, when it was undeniable that America was a powerful and influential country on the world stage.